What's up, guys? It's SammicH, and today we are going to be playing a game that's pretty near and dear to my heart. I started playing it around 2009, and there's a lot of backstory and a lot of information that kind of helps to, identify how close it was to me. The game is called FusionFall. So here, I'll pull up a window. So so the game's called FusionFall, right? So it's on Google, obviously. It was relatively popular. It was developed by Cartoon Network. It was released in 2009, early 2009. It ran on the Unity engine, and the premise of it was, uh, this is a pretty good picture. The premise of it was that all your favorite Cartoon Network characters you saw in shows. So this is Dexter. Like the art style changed, so they might not look exactly like they were in the shows, but like this is Dexter. Ben 10's over here. Blue from Foster's Home of Imaginary Friends is over here. Samurai Jack, Mandark from Dexter's Lab. Um, and then there's Blossom and Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls. Number 5 from Codename Kids Next Door. These are all characters you know from the shows, right? And then they also have like characters that they made themselves. So like in one over here, one over here, one over here that you can like look like in game. Then they have weapons that you can use in game, like this that they made. They're like roughly based off certain like shows. Some of them. So like you could get this. This was like a level 34 guide mission item that's from Samurai Jack, but you could use the weapon. Like swords they made, like bowcasters they made, another gun they made. And then this was all again like these were like the heroes, like all these people were the heroes. And then the people you see over here, like these green people, were like the evil versions of them. So they're called fusions. You got Fusion Dexter, Fusion Number 5, Fusion Samurai Jack, Fusion Blue, and then they made their own monsters too. So these are fusion spawns, and they made a bunch of others, one over here, one over here, one over here. So it's pretty much just like a MMO. It was an MMORPG based on like the world's like this guy named Lord Fuse is invading Earth and he's making copies, like evil copies of all these people that you have to fight against. But you fight with the good versions. So that launched in 2009, right? This is what it looked like in game, by the way. It looked like this back then. Um, Launched in 2009, and it went free to play. Let me look it up. So it went free to play. Whatever, it doesn't tell me. It went free to play, I think like 2011 maybe, 2010, 2011, because they weren't really making a lot of money off of memberships, so they thought that, maybe we just get enough money from people somehow, from people if it was free to play. So they made it free to play, and it brought in a lot more players, I have to say. Um, so they made it free to play. They introduced like a couple new like not DLCs, but like expansions to the game, like free expansions. So uh, those included like new areas, kind of new NPCs, new things to get, stuff like that. Um, and the premise of the game was you start at level 1, you go through tutorial, and uh, the tutorial and this place called like the future are your first 4 levels, right? So the tutorial is you talk to Dexter. You'll see this in the what I'm about to show you, but the tutorial is when you start talking to Dexter. Dexter's like, "All right, so we're in a pretty bad situation. Um, the world's pretty much ended already, and we need you to go save it. So I have this time machine, right? You got to go do the thing with the guy in the place, and yeah. So I'm just gonna spoil the plot of the tutorial because it doesn't really spoil much. He tries to send you to the past to stop everything from happening in the first place, right? But his idiot, dumbass sister named Dee Dee, which is also from Dexter's Lab, just Dexter's sister from the actual show, fucks everything up and screws up the teleporter or screws up the time machine. So now you are in the future. You're supposed to go to the past to stop everything, but now you're in the future, um, where you have to like fix the time machine with only a couple of people, and like most of the other characters are dead, and like a couple of the areas are left, and most of the areas are absolutely destroyed by all the fusion matter. Um, so that's the plot of like the first 4 levels, and then after the first 4 levels, you fix a teleporter, and like your last mission is like going to the teleporter and going back to the past. So pretty much the first 4 levels and the first couple of areas are you in the future, getting you familiar with the game, and then after you go through the time machine, you go back in time to the past, and that's where your real game starts. You go from level 4 to level 30 to from 4 to level 36, and level 36 is where you defeat Fuse and you technically stop the bad future from happening, right? So that was the premise of the original game. So it was shut down in like August 29th of 2013. Sorry, this is just a blank screen. Let me go to this website. So it was shut down on August 29th, 2013, right? These people, led by a kid named Alex, shout out to Alex, he's the absolute best for doing this. A couple guys named so it's Wamayhem is the pretty much sole coder for Retro. Kevman, Devin, kind of Prizzy, Tech the Noob. These are all people who joined this team, FusionFall Retro team, and tried to recode and recreate this game, right? So it was pretty much pronounced dead in August 2009. But they took all the files. Some of them were pretty jargled, like jumbled up and like unusable, and they had to rewrite a bunch of them and completely recreate the game, right? So from the bottom up, they started in, I don't know, 2000 2004, no, 2015 or 2016, and it's now 2018, and they're pretty much done. I'll talk more about that after I finish the tutorial, but they're pretty much done. This is the game. I don't think any of these pictures are from the future. They might not. Actually, no. Okay, this might be from the future. This picture right here might be from the future. Um, no, yeah, I don't think any of them are from the future. But anyway, so they created the game from the bottom up, and it's almost done. So what they have finished is a tutorial. Tutorial is pretty much where you spawn in. You're like, you go through the whole time machine thing, and it spawns you in, and it kind of tells you like the combat and beginning of everything, and how to fight, and all that. And then it's like, all right, we need to get you your first nano, and I'll explain nanos in a bit. Um, and it pretty much just brings you to that, like to the end of like, there's this cutscene where you meet up with the resistance, like the last of the people. There's only a couple of them, and you pretty much have to survive with them, and you have to, when the rest of the future zone comes out, you have to go with them and pretty much complete the first 4 levels, repair the time machine, and then go back to the past, right? So all they have done right now is the tutorial. So we're going to play that today, and in the next couple weeks, a free weekend of the rest of the future zone will come out, and we can play that. So I'm just going to turn this down. So this is the original launcher and the original login info. So you can't see my password, but this doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work. This doesn't work because you pretty much just restart the game every time. But let's get started with the game. It might have frozen. We just open up Task Manager. Quit that. Let's open it back up. All right. Okay. Let's just do this again. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna let you guys listen.
Hello? It is I, Dexter. Can you hear me in there? Thank you for volunteering for this important time travel experiment. I'm going to need you to input your profile into the system before we begin. Stand by and I'll bring it up on your monitor.
So this is pretty much just a basic character creation. You start with your name and then you make your character. For now, I'm just gonna. You can't create your own name; it doesn't work. But when the full game comes out, you'll be able to create this, and then it'll go to the devs, and the devs will either approve it or like deny it. And in the meantime, you'll get some random like RNG name until they approve it or deny it. So for now, I'm just gonna. It's like a combination of 3 words, and I think you have to have 2 of the 3. There are like blanks for this, blanks for this, and blanks for this, so you can have like this and this, this and this, this and this, or whatever, like any combination of the 2. So the slider's pretty slow at the moment, so I'm just gonna make a weird name. Nazgold enemy, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Now for our character creation, like in my actual player model. It's supposed to load. If it doesn't load, I'll be mad. Okay. We froze again. Nice, dude. I guess this is what happens. This should be expected with just a tutorial, but whatever. That's fine. We'll live. Let me just fly through this again real quick. So, other than the name, I'm going to be using the outfit that the character that I originally had. I'm going to be using the outfit that he had, right? So, that outfit was... I think they were both medium. You guys probably don't care about this. You can skip this, honestly, if you really want to. He had asparagus... Is that what it's called? Asparagus hair, and it was neon green. I remember this because one of my friends' mom drew this character that I'm about to make, which is pretty crazy. And he had thick brow, I think. No, he had thin brow. Okay. And then the shirt with the headphones on it, red, yeah. And he had these pants and the red shoes that are right. I think they were... Where are they? Whatever, I'll just use these. So this is what the characters look like. They're pretty cartoony, obviously. And yeah, let's get started. I'm gonna let you guys listen to the first bits. So.
Excellent. Bioscan is complete. Let's make sure your communicator is functioning.
All communication systems are functional, Dexter. I will be able to reconnect with the volunteer upon arrival in the future.
Affirmative. All right, I'm powering up the main engine now. You may feel a little bump. Wow, are you seeing these readings? A fine day for science indeed. Prepare for launch.
Ooh,
3,
what does this button
2,
do?
1. No!
So here, that's where she screws everything up and sends me into the future.
Error. You have been
It
sent
says
much
time
farther
jump
into
error.
the future than Dexter intended.
Watch out! Holy cannoli, where did you come from?
Not now, number 5. We gotta move. Follow us.
Initiate training. Please move the mouse to the right. Good. Now
I'm just
move
gonna
the mouse
say,
to the left to look
the
at
sensitivity
the
is
next marker.
really high when you start your game for the first time. So I play at 800 DPI, pretty low sense, and have a pretty big mouse pad. And this game's sense
Excellent.
is so high.
Now push the mouse
I have to play at
forward
like
to look up.
150 DPI, which is ridiculous. But anyway,
Very good.
now we're just doing like
Use the
regular,
W, A, S, and good.
like
To move
it's
backwards,
WASD
press
and
and hold
mouse
the S key.
for the controls.
Very good. While moving, you can to jump. Press
Space
the
for
space
jump.
bar.
It's all like the
To
same
jump
stuff you've
forward,
seen.
hold the W key while jumping. Please.
Here, take this weapon.
To attack.
So
You can
about the
tell how much
combat,
damage you
it's
will do
super
by looking
basic.
at the
It's literally
target's
auto lock.
at the top
So
of your screen.
I don't even like. I'm moving my mouse, but it's still targeted onto that spawn over there. So it's not a hard game at all. It's just like a.
Woohoo! Nice work, guys.
It's not for kids, but I guess it kind of is for kids when it was designed, but whatever.
Those creeps turn back into
So
fusion
this is
matter
on the
when you
left
beat
is
'em.
number 5 from
Make
Codename
sure
Kids
you
Next
collect
Door,
as
and on
much
the
as
right
you
is Ben
can.
10.
It's
So-
real important stuff.
You will automatically collect fusion matter from defeated enemies. The amount of fusion matter you have is displayed in your fusion matter meter. As you defeat more enemies, your fusion matter meter will continue to fill up. Warning, more hostiles incoming.
We got more company.
So there are a bunch of different
It's a
tiers of
Cyberus.
enemies. So the ones that we
Take 'em
just
down.
fought were like fusion spawns, and
Damage to you is indicated on your health bar. If your health
like a
reaches zero,
fusion.
you will
I forget what
be
the other one was
knocked
called.
out.
This one's a Cerberus or a Cyberus because it's cyber. You know, they make a bunch of puns with their
Nice
enemies,
shooting,
but
by the way. You
they
know,
get
I just
harder and harder
realized
as
who
you go up.
are. You're the kid from the past Dexter told us about. Well, you're in a world of trouble now. Look up in the sky. That's Planet Fusion, ruled by some nasty guy named Fuse. Fuse has covered the world with gross green goo, and those disgusting fusion spawns are wrecking everything.
Fuse's monsters have evolved and adapted to our planet. You should see some of them. They use things called terrafusers to infect everything with goo. If the infection gets bad enough, Planet Fusion will absorb our world. Now that you're up to speed, can you go help number 2? We gotta go help the others.
So
I need some help with a super important
now
mission.
we're gonna meet number
Report
2
to me
from
right
Codename
away.
Kids Next Door. Oh,
Your
the fucking
communicator
mouse bug
comes with
happened
a
again.
built-in
Whatever.
mini-map. It will show you how to reach number 2. You are the marker in the center of the mini-map. Look for the glowing energy rings to help you find number 2.
So you can move in and out with scroll wheel, like you can change your FOV, which is pretty cool, I think.
To talk to number 2, get close to him and center him in your screen. Characters with
This attack was no accident. An oil ogre is using a transmitter to broadcast our position. We need to find that monster and get that transmitter. You ready?
to accept the mission from to exit the mission's current objective is displayed
So
on your
now we're
screen.
gonna face a pretty high tier
Your
of enemy.
first task
It's called an
is to
oil
defeat
ogre.
the oil ogre that stole the transmitter. Use your minimap to locate your target.
So it's over here. The combat, I'm gonna get this over. I'm just gonna say a couple things really quickly. Combat in this game, not complicated. The premise and idea of this game, not complicated. The end game is kind of dry. The story is not very hard to follow. The characters, like, there's obviously no cursing, no blood. It's like old, like 2009 type animation. But if you like Cartoon Network, you'll really like it, I think. And I'm a big fan, so hey. It's the right now this is only out, but when it comes to the actual game, it's gonna be a lot more. But for now, like, if you see any bugs or anything, it's just because this is the tutorial, and this is all they've made so far. So
Nice work! Bring that transmitter back to me.
Since you have completed your first task, your mission journal has updated. To open your mission journal, press the Enter key to access the main menu on the right side of your screen. Then select Journal.
So this is all the interface and everything. None of these work. Warp away, leave group, hop on vehicle. These are all for like the main game, buddy list. All, like this is your friends list.
Since you have completed your first task, your mission journal has
Shut
updated.
up.
To open your mission journal, press the Enter key to access the main menu on the right side of your screen. Then select Journal.
Anyway, so buddy list is your friends list. Always like a global chat. You have a menu chat for all your different stuff and an emote bar. You have exit full screen, your nano bar down here, settings, a map, an email, which is
Since you
pretty
have
much.
completed your
I
first
swear to
task,
God.
your mission journal has updated. To open your mission journal, press the Enter key to access the main menu on the right side of your screen. Then select Journal.
Anyway, email is pretty much just like your messages. My stuff is inventory, and journal is like your it's like your progress or like your missions.
Your mission journal contains information on all your missions. It tells you who gave you the mission. It tells you what you need to do.
I'm gonna
It
turn
also
her
tells you
down.
the reward you will receive once you complete the mission. Click the X in the upper right corner of your screen. Your
Okay.
new task is to deliver the
And I'm gonna go
transmitter
back
to
into
number
full
2.
screen.
Note that your current objective has been updated and a
Alright.
new red marker has been set to number 2. Click on number 2 to talk to him and update
So
your
this is
mission.
like the mission thing. So when he has an exclamation point, he has a new mission, and then he has the question mark, he has like mission progress. So it's very simple.
Characters with a to accept, click the button.
We're ready for Nano, and I need your
So
help.
when this
I
happens, you
think Dexter's in trouble.
on the top right.
Congratulations.
I
By
swear to God.
successfully completing the mission from number 2, you have filled up your fusion matter meter. When this meter fills up, you will automatically receive a new nano mission. Completing nano missions will reward you with new nanos. Every nano you collect will give you more powers and make you stronger.
Anyway, so when you fill up this, like right next to the mini map on top right, right? So right here, this little circle thing that's empty right now that was just full, is pretty much your level. So when you reach a new level, it fills up, and then you get that like the circle thing that I just saw, like the big old green thing. It goes around you, and it's like, oh, you're ready for a new nano, right? So every time that happens, you get a nano mission, and every new level, you get a nano up to 36, so there are 36 nanos. There were more in the original game, but in net retro, there are going to be 36 until they say otherwise, I guess. So, I just filled it up. It's not going to carry over to like the next time I start up the tutorial, but I filled it up and now I have a nano mission. Nanos are pretty much, so this is Buttercup right here, right? She doesn't look exactly like she does in the comics, but that's because they put their own rendition of her. So pretty much, nanos are like mini powerful versions of these heroes, right? And you see down here, 1, 2, and 3, these are where I can put my 3 nanos. I'm just checking to see, okay. So, those are where I can put my 3 nanos. Each of them have different powers with different levels of difficulty to get them. So like a level 36 nano is going to be harder than like a level 4 nano. So you have to do a nano mission each time when you want to get one.
Buttercup's
Dexter has disappeared. You've got to see if he's in the infected zone. I'll check out here. There's no time to lose. The most infected areas on the...
Yeah, I'm gonna skip
Your
that.
new task is to enter the infected
So
zone.
you see
Find
these like
Dexter.
balls that
You
like
can
emit
enter
energy
infected
over here.
zones using warp gates.
These are infected zones. So the lore behind it is like, you know, they're protecting everybody from like the super bad like fusion matter in there by that green thing right here. This green thing, this big old green thing is called like I think it's called a terrafuser. So it emits like really like it came from up there, Planet Fuse, and it comes down and it emits like the really strong toxic fusion matter. So Dexter pretty much just made these special wall things. You see like the Dex Labs logo on the ball. He made like these borders to keep the bad fusion matter in. Like there's still fusion matter in other places, like, you know, the fusion matter on like the cliffs over there, or like fusion matter over there or over there. But the really bad stuff is always going to be in there. And inside there, you can look over here. This is where the fusion layers are. And you can see it better when we get in, but that's where the actual
To use the
fusion,
warp gate, target the blue deck spot attendant and click on it.
like that's where the fusion versions of her are. So now we use this teleporter with a deck spot to get in there. You just click warp and you immediately go
I
in.
am trapped in Fusion Buttercup's lair. Quickly, find the fusion portal.
Use the floating platforms to get across this dangerous pit of fusion matter to reach the fusion portal.
So now that she's done talking, in the full game, I don't think it does it now. Yeah, so oh wait, no, it does. Okay, damn. So in the full game, and just like now, this pool of fusion matter. So like I stand in on the top right or on the top left, it shows this like the toxic symbol. That pretty much just means that I'm standing in fusion matter and I need to get out. So in the full game, pretty much if you die, you come back to one of these, which will have a deck spot here if you want to teleport out, but it doesn't now because it's a tutorial. So you pretty much they put like these platforms that are supposed to blend in with the environment so that you can like platform around and like, you know, get across or whatever.
You
it's
can
pretty
enter
cool.
a fusion portal the same way you enter a warp. Now,
So
click the warp
these are
button
the
to enter
the
Fusion
layers
Buttercup's
of
lair.
like fusions, and each
Thank
fusion
goodness
has a
you
layer.
made it. I am over here. Come talk to me. Hurry!
So every fusion has a layer, and this is what they look like. Like there's really not much. It's just like a labyrinth kinda, and there isn't usually an NPC over here. There's usually, okay, she's not there now, but there's usually a fusion like all the way at the end of it, and you just kill it pretty much. You
Select
kill all the mobs to get to it.
It is you! I knew we would meet again. My stupid sister messed up the time jump sequence and destroyed the time capsule. We need to get you back to the past so you can save our world.
So yeah.
Fusion Buttercup is in the next room. We must stop her before she can cause any more damage.
So this is the
Fusions are
fusion
dark,
version.
twisted
Yeah,
versions
I'll let
of
him
this
say it.
planet's heroes, created by Fuse himself. They are extremely dangerous, but I think you can handle it. Are you ready? Let's go!
So pretty much, this big old thing over here is fighting Dexter, and it has a lot more health than anything else you're gonna fight. This is auto lock too. All the weapons are auto lock, so you don't have to worry about aiming at it. It'll be fine. It's quite a bullet sponge, I'm not gonna lie.
Buttercup, that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah! Congratulations! You have made your first nano. Like fusions, nanos are made of fusion matter. You have used the fusion matter you collected in your fusion matter meter to create Nano Buttercup. Don't be discouraged by her size. She may be small, but she is powerful.
Your communicator is now a nanocom. It has the ability to store up to 3 nanos.
Whoa! That does not sound good. You can escape to Dex Labs using the warp gate I have set up. I must search this area and make sure Fusion Buttercup did not steal anything from my headquarters.
Go to the warp gate to exit the area.
So now pretty much, it's supposed to be like, everything's supposed to be like crumbling down, and like, you're supposed to like run away pretty quickly. So now we don't teleport back outside to where we were. We teleport up to the top of the building that we were supposed to be inside. Like I said, the animation's super simple. Pretty much the buildings are just falling down to nowhere.
Anymore. Get to the scamper. Hurry!
And scampers are pretty much just like traveling devices that you can use. So here's where you're gonna see the first time, like here's where you're gonna see you use your nano for the first time. So I'm gonna cross this bridge, and then a tech wing is gonna appear. And up past the tech wing, up to your left, is the actual ship. So I'm gonna take out my nano, and it either works with right click or X.
Now that your enemy is stunned,
So
get to the scamper safely.
that works. And now, pretty much for the for the tutorial purposes, the scamper or the tech wing is stunned forever. So you can go exploring, and there's a way to get up. I'll show you a little bit right now. There's a way to get up and out of bounds, but I'm not going to do that because I want to show you guys the final cutscene. I'll just show you a bit of it. So it's pretty much here, and then you go on top of the telescope, and then you pretty much just jump off, and you jump like all the way down there, and you can go explore wherever you want. But for now, we're going to see the cutscene. So I'm going to let it play out.
You did great, but it looks like Buttercup and the rest weren't able to handle those other terrafusers in time. Dexter says we gotta find Mandark so we can rebuild the time machine and send you back to the past. Let's get out of here!
Despite our best efforts, Tech Square has been lost. But this war is not over yet. Not by a long shot. Our time-traveling friend here is just the hero we need. Between Mandark and number 2, I am sure you will be able to rebuild my time capsule. Don't worry about me. I will be fine. Get back to Sector V and to safety. Dexter, out!
Alright everyone, next stop, Hero Square, Sector V!
So that's where the tutorial ends. And you can't progress past it. It's just a black screen. You can't do anything. So I'm just going to Alt-Tab out of it and close it and just talk about the game for the next couple minutes. It's already been like almost a half an hour since I started this recording, but whatever. So a little bit more about the game. when he says at the end, when he says next stop Hero Square Sector V, Sector V is your beginning hub for all of the activities that you're going to use. It's where the KND treehouse is. If you didn't watch the show Codename Kids Next Door, they pretty much have this giant ass treehouse that they use for everything. Um, it's like their hub for literally everything. And there are a couple of NPCs there that you can get missions from. There aren't that many in the future because apparently, like, supposedly everybody's supposed to be dead, right? Um, but um, anyway, it's supposed to be like the beginning hub for all your activities. So I'm gonna open up. Let me see if this works. So opened up FusionFall Future Map, right? So this is where you start. I want to see if there are names. Uh, okay, so we're not going to find a map with names. So I'm going to open this image into the next tab. So this down here is the future map. And this all up here is the rest of the game. This is the past. So let's say what we just played, a tutorial, that whole area was like maybe a quarter of one of these squares down here. But a whole area is like a whole square. So pretty much each area has its own name. It's like some cheeky like name with a reference from like an original show. So like Peachtree Commons is from I'm pretty sure it's from Powerpuff Girls. Sector V is obviously from Codename Kids Next Door. Places like Tech Square from Dexter's Lab, so and so, like it's all related to the shows. So this is the future right here. Um, and this is where you start, and then you take the time machine and you go back to this area, right? Actually, this might be the what's it called? The tutorial area, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, so you go here. You start out in this is called the suburbs, okay? This little orange line here is like the railway system. So you pretty much like there's like a transport system. Like if you don't have a vehicle, you can really take it if you really need to go somewhere. You start in Sector V and you progress down through here from level 4 to like level 6. I could be wrong, but it's like level 11 or something. Uh, these blue things are called infected zones that we went over. Each major area has an infected zone. So let's say there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 areas here. This area isn't really going to be used that much. This area doesn't really have a lot of NPCs. So there's like pretty much a major area for every single uh, nano that you would get or every single level that you would progress in the suburbs at least. So this is the suburbs. And these are all the infected zones that you would get the nanos from the suburbs like at. And then you progress from here down into the city, or I think it's I forget what the area is called. It might just be the city. I don't remember. But you go from here, you split your time in from level 13 to level like 27 here and here, right? So you start at the beginning of your late teens levels here, right? Right from the suburbs down to here. And you progress a little bit, and sometimes they give you a mission to go up here, which is the Wildlands. So this area, the city, I don't really remember what it was called, and this area, oh my God, I forget what these areas are. Hold on, let me look at them up. The Wilds, I think it was called. So it's the suburbs, downtown. Okay, so wait. Okay, so yeah, this is downtown and this is the Wilds, I think. So you split your time here and here from level like 11 to level 27. And then at level 27, there's this. Where is the scamper? I think there's a scamper like up here, or there's either a scamper you can take, or there's like a boat that you can take from here to here. This is the Darklands. Darklands takes you from level 27 to level 36. And this is pretty much over here is literally where you fight Fuse. You start over here. Um, there's some pretty cool lore behind it. You start over here and you end up over here. You progress through whatever. Um, and the lore behind these whole areas is that in the beginning, you start here, and there's a lot of futuristic stuff. Pretty much every single one of the houses is super futuristic, and like everything is miles and miles ahead of what we have now in like the real world. And then you progress through here. City Station is pretty futuristic, but once you progress like down to here, it's not as futuristic. Just like up here, you start here and there are a couple of futuristic things, and then you progress through and it's like kind of like starting to get to present day or into the past, and then you get to the Darklands, right? Darklands is like prehistoric, and this goes for the enemies too, right? So here, like, they're all going to be tech wings, and like, or tech wings are down here, but they're all going to be like super high tech enemies, representing super high tech like things in the world. Um, and as you progress through here and here, the enemies get less and less technologically advanced. So by the time you're here, you're literally like there are literally dinosaurs that you face. Like there are pterodactyls that obviously like they have a fusion matter name. I don't remember what they are, but they're literally like you face dinosaurs and pterodactyls and like cephalopods, which are like things that came before dinosaurs. Um, it's really cool to see. Like if you pay attention to a lot of the lore, it may not be that deep, but it's really cool to see a bunch of stuff like this. Like you're going from here to here to here to here, and you're progressively going backwards in time, technically, which I really like to see. And also, everything is becoming more fusion matterified as you get closer and closer to fuse, which I also like. So that's pretty much the plot of the land and the map that you're going to be on. This is a lot bigger than you think. This game was absolutely massive for like the design team that made it and like how much money they made off of it. This game was actually so big. Um, Honestly, I'd say this map is probably bigger than like a GTA map. Like this map is actually so big. I would say, um, let's see. So like take this little dot right here. Or no, I need something smaller. So take this little speck. You see this little speck right here? This speck is probably the size of your character on this whole map. These infected zones are huge. Like this map was absolutely massive. Um, so now we can talk about items a little bit. I'm gonna try and end this video pretty quickly. So we can talk about armor. Let me go to the. All right, so we can talk about armor and weapons first. So items. This is kind of the scheme of the items. It's super cartoony. So hats ranging from level 1, some uh, like ripping off, not ripping off, but some modeled after, Benton characters or blue or whatever, going all the way down from level 1. So this is going to be pretty long. From level 1 up to level 10, all the way to level 36, right? So these are kind of more playful things like electro hat or like a cowboy hat, and it gets more serious as you go down the line, right? To like ninja hats and like sacked helmets and plumber stuff. I'll explain the whole concept of guides in a minute. But then the guns are split up into what six categories. Scatter guns are well, let's start with rifles and pistols. Rifles are pretty much like regular guns that you shoot one target and you hit one target at a time. Pistols are just that. I think they do a little bit more damage, but they have less range. Then rockets don't have aim assist, or when I say aim assist in this video, I just mean like auto lock, like you don't have to move your mouse directly onto them and there are no like sights. Rockets don't have aim assist, they're splash damage. Melees have aim assist, but you need to like get super close to the target and you can only hit one at a time. Thrown weapons are literally absolute dog shit. Like you will never use thrown weapons. You have to like hit exactly to get good damage and like they're not really doing much. And then shatter guns, which are literally the best guns in the game by far. Uh, they hit multiple targets at once. So like you'd be aiming at one target and then it show up with like 4 squares of damage that you can do to different targets. So these guns will literally the last gun that you will pretty much ever get from a story mission is a shatter gun, and it's called the Fusebreaker Hurricane. It's right here. This gun is literally the last gun you get. It does so much damage. It's so good. Like the standard of what people use like for guns. Like if you want to show off in Sector V after you've completed the Darklands and you go back just to show off for like level 4s and stuff, you put on a Fuse Breaker Hurricane. Anyway, um, there are like hundreds and hundreds of cosmetic items, glasses, hats, shirts. The shirts are really cool. Um, let's see if I can find the Ben 10 jacket. Oh, I want to talk about the Cannonbolt armor, or like things that are coveted by people. The Cannonbolt armor is armor from a set that everybody loved and everybody really wanted to get. And there are also, like, you might have seen this in the tutorial character selection. You can get like upgraded versions of those down the line, which is pretty cool. Like if you like the style of the stuff in the tutorial, you can upgrade them. This is probably where I should. Anyway, oh, here's the Bented jacket. Pretty much like this most or second most coveted item in the game because it's so rare. It's ultra rare. Yeah, anyway, so I'm going to go over guides now. So those are all the weapons that you can get. So I'm going to go over guides. There are 4 guides. I think it's after you. I could be wrong, but it's after you. It might be after you exit the future when you get your first guide. You can pick from 4. Dexter from Dexter's Lab, Ben from Ben 10, Ed from Ed, Ed, and Eddie, and Mojo Jojo from fuck, what's it called? Powerpuff Girls. Each of these each of these characters give you a special set of armor and weapons as you go down the line, right? So these I might not. Let me see. Guide roads. Okay. So let's go through the 5th set. I think the 5th set's pretty good. So this is Ben, this row's Dexter, this row's Mojo Jojo, this row's Ed. It kind of gives you a taste of like their style, I guess. So uh, first level or level 25, you start at level 25. You pretty much complete a level. You complete level 24. You get your nano for level 25, and you start at the beginning of level 25. As soon as you start at the beginning of a level, they will give you the first mission for these, and you can only do 1 guide mission per level unless you haven't completed the one from the previous level. So level 25 would be like the face or like the hat. Level 26 would be boots. It varies, but and then the last one is the weapon. They all have a theme, so like Mojo Jojo's for this would all be Forever Night stuff. Dexter's is like a Dex Star set. Um, they're not all the same, but this is Ben's. It's a Plumber Shock set. The Samurai set is for Dexter. Mojo Jojo's the Beast set, and then the Sacked stuff is for Ed. Just showing you like the rest. These are different sets still: Ben, Dexter, Mojo, and Ed. So you get the point. You pretty much use these missions give you a lot of XP. And what people did in the beginning of the game was they pretty much got to a point where they couldn't level up anymore. Like it was really hard to level up because you need so much experience and they didn't want to grind just to level up. So what they did was, let's say they were at like level 20 or level 9. Let's say they were at level 17 and they had Ben for the whole game as their guide. And they because they just really like the stuff, like they just really like the theme of Ben. They really like heat blast stuff, whatever it may be. So what you can do is, if you've gotten all the armor for your guide that you want, you can change your guide, which I think costs a lot of fusion matter. You can change your guide and go back to the first set of another guide. So you would start at hold on. Yeah, you would start at if you change to Dexter, you'd start at the dodgeball set. So you'd get all these, and then once you completed all those missions, you'd get all these, the blowfish set, and then once you completed that, you'd go to the skull mask, and then if you were level 17, you'd stop at the skeleton shirt. And if you leveled up to level 18, then you could switch back to Ben if you wanted to, get the heat blaster, and then switch to Dexter again if you need more experience and get the scythe. You don't have to restart the armor sets every time, but you still need to switch and pay fusion matter to actually get the mission for the other guide. If you really needed more fusion matter than that, You could like do Ben and Dexter, and then switch to Mojo Jojo for even more fusion matter, or for even I think it was Terra's or fusion matter, for even more fusion matter, and then you could get this whole set. And then if you didn't have enough, you could switch and do this whole set. So you could imagine each one of these missions are pretty long, so you can imagine that these take a long time to get all the sets. These go all the way up to level 36. Level 36 items are the last weapons you'll get, and this samurai katana is the one that I was talking about before. You can actually get it, and you get an actual samurai set. You don't actually look like Samurai Jack, but it's pretty cool anyway. Um, so that's pretty much what guides are. They pretty much just like give you like a story, a secondary story to follow that's not really super related to the initial story, right? But you can still follow like Fuse, I guess, like while you're doing the guide sets. If you really like Ben, you'd like the plumber story, or you'd like to talk to characters from the Ben 10 show. So you could just pick Ben as a guide and then go follow that story. Um, so that's guides. What else should I talk about? Areas. These are all the areas in the game. There are a lot of areas. And you end here. See, like, okay, I'm going to give you an example. So you start over, let's say at the beginning of level 4, level 5, you start here, and the enemies are pretty high tech, right? So they have like a bunch of high tech stuff on them. These are literally all electrical machinery, stuff like that. And then you progress through the game. Let me find the wilds. And then you get to, let's say, the lower, no, the lower catacombs is a bad idea, or a bad example. Let's say the really twisted forest, right? So these are like animals. They've been around a lot longer than us. Snakes, like not mechanical, right? And then when you get to the Darklands, you get enemies like slag cephalopods or eyebores or shell slugs that are literally predating humans. Like they're based off of organisms or animals that are predating humans, which I thought was really cool when I found out. Um, is that it? Is that all I have to say? Um, I guess so. So I'm just gonna go to their website real quick and leave you guys with this. Um, so this has been me playing and explaining FusionFall Retro to you guys. Um, Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to follow the if you want to follow the game, go to FusionFallRetro.com. You can click on the forums, go to the forums. You can look at frequently asked questions about Retro. You can't play it yet. I'll let you guys know when you can play it. The dev blog is still going. They haven't put out a dev blog in a while until the free weekend comes out. When the free weekend comes out, you guys really should play it. It's really fun. It will be really fun. You'll just be able to like tour around the future zone and like test bugs and tell them like feedback and stuff. Um, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you really want to, just go to FusionFallRetro.com. Play the tutorial. Tutorial is really fun, and thank you guys again so much. This is really a game that's really close to me, and I'd appreciate if you guys played it. Um, so thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.